12,000. 7 players remain at our final table. Tony Bloom passing. And to Jonathan Karamelikis. And he wants to get adventurous with a 3-5 in spades.
Folds around to Tony G, who looks down at a pair of jacks and makes the call. And look at this, Billy Giordano's picked up kings in the face of a raise and a call. He's in the small blind. And he says, raise the pot. Of course, reminding us that this is pot limit before the flop, no limit after the flop. Tony has quickly re-raised all in. And Billy has called.
You got aces, Billy?
Pretty close, Tony. He's got kings. And Tony G is not happy.
This is bad news for the Australian-Lithuanian. I don't think we're going to be seeing him do another merry jig unless he can hit one of those 2 remaining hooks.
Flop. 7-5-4, no help to Tony. Billy still well ahead.
Yep, heading to jack or running cards to chop it with a straight in the middle. Billy Giordano looks supremely relaxed. Well, there is one of those running cards. There's an open-ended straight in the middle. Feel like we've seen it all before.
And the river is a king of spades. So Billy pumps the fist and wins a very big pot. 383,000 in that one.
It is a big pot. Tony G had him covered though, so still alive and still dangerous. Covering 510,000 square metres, the equivalent of 2 city blocks, Melbourne's premier entertainment complex is recognised as the largest and most diverse in the Southern Hemisphere. Crown's integrated facilities feature Crown Casino with 350 tables and 2,500 gaming machines. Visitors can stay at Crown Towers, a 5-star ultra-high luxury property, and Crown Promenade, a relaxed, affordable, contemporary accommodation. As well as gaming, the Crown Complex also has more than 40 restaurants and 30 bars, as well as 2 nightclubs. Add in an extensive collection of international designer boutiques, 14 cinemas and a live entertainment theatre, and you have one of the best and most luxurious properties anywhere in the world.
Blinds are at 6 and 12,000. And the action will be on our hedge fund manager from New York City, Dan Shack.
Dan looks down at Ace Queen of Clubs. He's an expert in the trading of gold and silver. And those will look like shiny, glittery cards to him.
Looks like he's coming in for a raise, makes it 36,000.
Standard Hold'em raise, 3 times the big blind. Will he get a customer?
Folds around to Monster Dong. He has a look at Ace Queen of Hearts. Of course, Jonathan Karamelikis arrived at this table as our chip leader, and things haven't really been going his way thus far.
And you certainly see Ace Queen has a good chance to reverse that trend. And he's making a call by the look of it. So, 2 hands going to the flop. Both the same, essentially. Of course, that doesn't guarantee a chop. One of them could bet the other off.
And the flop is 5 deuce 3 rainbow flop.
We both have a runner flush draw and a draw to the wheel.
It is checked to Dan Shack, who is counting out some chips. Looks like he might take a stab at this. 75,000's the bet.
Tough spot for Karamelikis. He has more chips than Shaq, but Not a great spot for ace queen. He's all in.
And look at this. Dan Shack has made a call for the rest of his stack. Astonishing call.
That was. Karamelikis made the move, fair enough. But for Shack to snap call with just an ace high.
Well, he still had at least $250,000 in chips behind him, so he must have truly believed he was ahead. And the turn is a jack of clubs, unless he knew there was a flush coming.
Very nasty turn card for
Now we'll see if
Karamelikis.
you're a legend or not.
He can't believe Shack called so fast. And this would be a horrible suck out.
And the river is a jack of diamonds, so we will chop the pot. But that is an astonishing play by Dan Shack, making that call with ace-queen high.
Blinds up to 8 and 16,000. That puts the pressure on the short stacks. Button is on Tony Bloom. And it is folded around to Billy Giordano. Very colourfully dressed.
And Tony Bloom has picked up tens on the button and raises to 40,000.
Just Dan Shack to get by. Dan Shack has ace-4 offsuit. May suspect that Tony's making a button move here.
The pot.
And he bets the pot.
Well, he's definitely putting Tony on a button steal. He's raised the pot and Tony has fired the rest of his chips into the middle. And Dan is committed now, so he calls. And he is well behind in this hand.
It's not that bad.
Another adventurous move from the hedge fund manager.
Well, Dan has more chips than Tony, so if he gets lucky, he'll eliminate the former Aussie Millions champ.
It comes down to King 5. That gives Dan Shack a gut shot draw. He'd need a 3, so an ace or 3.
Tony not really sure whether he likes the flop or not.
That has put the diamond draw out there as well. And Tony Bloom laughing, but only on the outside. Here comes the river. And it is a 2 of hearts, and that's safe for Tony Bloom. He's got 10s up and wins a big, big pot.
So Tony will be very happy with that. And Dan Shack giving up some chips with a weak ace. Blinds are 8 and 16,000. Action on Phil Ivey. Lets it go. Round to Tony Bloom. Looks down at pocket jacks. Early position. And puts in a raise to 40,000.
Dan Shack has got 4 or 5 offsuits. Cards that even he doesn't fancy an adventure with. But Barry Greenstein has picked up King Kong. Makes the re-raise.
That is a strong re-raise. 136,000. Not trapping here. Well, Tony Bloom in a bit of a tough spot here. Has a strong hand. It's such a big raise.
Morning.
And Billy Giordano gets out of the way. Tony Bloom announces all in and is quickly called by Barry Greenstein. And Tony Bloom puts his chips in the middle, takes a look at Barry's cards and has a look of resignation on his face.
And Barry Greenstein has more chips than Tony Bloom, so the Englishman is in jeopardy. This could be the end of his tour.
Bike's out, Tony. You promised to ride it.
I don't promise anything.
Oh, well, Tony G offering Tony Bloom a ride on his bike.
I think Barry has more.
It's all smiles now.
I lost with
The
Jack,
money is
so I
in.
can't
There's no more betting to come. Here comes the flop, though.
It is a 6-3-3 flop, so All is good for Barry Greenstein and his kings.
2 cards, he needs to fade a jack.
Only 2 of those left in the deck, and there is one of them on the turn, Tony Bloom. Well, that's heartbreak for Barry.
He still has a chance to resuck up, but no, it's the ace of spades. So Tony Bloom gets extraordinarily lucky and has crippled Barry Greenstein. Over 720,000 chips in the middle of the base.